So what we're trying to do with this technology is build useful interactions around it. So it's a hack of a hack of a hack. What I really liked about this last session was the conversation that took place between what you're trying to do to protect society and what you're trying to do to push innovation. And we talked a little bit about cookies in the last bit and what Amazon does with knowing what you went to purchase the first time on Amazon. The second time you go back, you get revealed more information. And what happens with all of this invisible data in the real world was brought up as well. So we actually had an artist that took a company that, my company's SDK, and he built art around this whole idea of this invisible data. So what you see here is on the left, some things that are in the room, Internet of Things. So in this example, it's a Wi-Fi access point. But it could be a wearable. Do any of you have Fitbits or Fuel Bands or any of these devices on? All these put out a little heartbeat of radio data. So in a minute, you'll see someone's perhaps wearable that pops up on the screen. And this art that you see beside it is the strength of that signal, the radio data that's being sent around. So there's a Bluetooth thing, a Fitbit Flex. Does anyone have a Fitbit Flex on? Yep. So that's your radio that's now visualized as art. So what we're trying to do with this technology is build useful interactions around it. So it's a hack of a hack of a hack, right? Your wearable is something that is hacking or quantifying yourself. And what we're doing is receiving that data and then putting it into a 3D visualizer to display art. But this could be no different than Tom Cruise in the movie Minority Report, which came out in 2002. When he walked through the mall spoke to him. And in the UK, you're used to having cameras aimed at you in all walks of life, literally. But what we're thinking about is how this radio data can let you opt in to more information that'll be beneficial to you as you traverse maybe a store, a bus stop, which maybe tells you where your next path is, et cetera. So I just wanted to get you to think about that for a second. And there's all the code that makes that happen. So my company, NewAer, uses these radio waves to create these experiences. And I started as a kid in the 1980s watching the movie War Games. Anyone remember this movie? And in this scene, you've got Matthew Broderick doing something called war dialing. And it's dialing number after number after number sequentially, just waiting for an answer on the internet. So nowadays, an answer on a BBS, a computer. And nowadays, you can do this with the internet. And with Jamie and I later, we're going to show you an example of what you can do to poke around. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack. But he got into Whopper, which simulated World War III. But luckily, we don't have those kinds of things happening yet, so to speak. But one of my hacks, this device on the left, is something I created in 1997. And it was a barcode scanner. So it was really the first Internet of Things device. And I figured everything in the world had a UPC, a barcode on it, just like what the retail stores use to get a price. And I said, what if we could take every one of those barcodes and deep link you to content on the net? So in 1999, I raised $200 million on this idea. Coca-Cola alone put $10 million in. Y&R, the agency, put $20 million in. And the idea was to deep link everything you had. This was before Google was the powerhouse they were. But now my hack, the company went bankrupt like every good company did in 2001, and every bad company too. Even Amazon was on the brink of bankruptcy as well. But now it's the most hacked product ever. You can still to this day buy these products 14 years later on eBay and on Amazon. And then another hack project I did was something called Slingbox. We launched it in the UK with the Carrier 3. Anyone have a Slingbox back in those days or maybe today? So the idea here is you connect an aerial to this box, and this box would send video to you from your living room, maybe your Skybox or this antenna. It'd send video to you anywhere in the world. So this was a hack on a Texas Instruments DSP, a purpose-built chip made for encoding video, and we won an Emmy with this hack. So taking technology that really shouldn't have been employed for this and compressing video real time. And then with this project, Boxy, we took open source software called XBMC, and that was a hack of the original Xbox. The first generation Xbox used one key, one security key for every game. And my friend Bunny, who's another ethical hacker, he figured out that key and allowed people like us to write software on top of that box. So it was a little cumbersome, it was geeky, you had to take it apart and maybe push short some circuits inside. But with this hack, we won best prize at the Consumer Electronics Show for a startup, and that gave us $50,000, which we then split with the open source community that made that hack XBMC. So these are all examples of products that we've been very successful with, taking things that shouldn't be done and kind of stretching the bounds and making them into things that would be compelling products for those of you in the audience to go buy at a local computer store or buy online through Amazon. But the favorite thing that I did was this, Make Magazine in 2003. And with Make, we built a platform and a forum for people to talk about invention. And the backyard tinkerers were working in their garages or in their basements, and they were doing this really on their own. So what we created was a magazine to inspire them and motivate them and maybe get them thinking about what they could do with that old VCR. In fact, the first episode or issue of this magazine was taking your old VCR and turning it into a cat feeder, because the VCR had a good timer circuit, and it also had some other electromechanical equipment inside that we could actually actuate food going into a bowl. And from that, it became Maker Faire. And Maker Faire has been a worldwide phenomenon now. It started in San Francisco. Now 150,000 people go showing what they've built. And in New York, 90,000 people. We just had that one a few months ago. So this whole idea of invention and tinkering, we're trying to get back into mainstream society and taking it around the world. So my technology, real briefly, is we're looking at these radio waves. We scan, we look for a fingerprint, and the fingerprint could be the Wi-Fi in the space, the Bluetooth that's on your arm, maybe the Bluetooth in the laptop, and create rich experiences around it. And Intel and Deutsche Telekom saw what we were doing, and they said, these are ways that we can make devices like the laptop more intelligent. If the laptop knows the screen is here, we can send video data directly to that projector and hit the screen. And Deutsche Telekom saw what we were doing and said, if my phone knows that it's inside the car, my car has a stronger antenna and a stronger battery at the end of the day than my phone does. So let's route your mobile phone calls to the car instead of routing it to your phone. So that's what we're thinking about. And I've got Magnum excited, the brand here in the UK with Unilever. We're doing a project with them where we're using our technology to find out when your friend is nearby you. So with you and your friend might be on a tube station and you can't see each other because there's 20 people in the way, but the radio waves kind of channel between all of those other people between you two. So we'll alert you that a friend is nearby. And as part of Magnum's 25th anniversary, which is going on this year, we're giving free ice cream away. So it's the digitized ice cream social. And we're doing that by putting little transmitting beacons on ice cream cabinets. So again, clever new ways to think about technology that maybe in the past, if you'd see your friend, you couldn't even text him in the tube station because there's no cell phone coverage down there. But our technology works whether you're in an airplane, underground, or in the park. But the real goal with my technology is I'm trying to solve a problem that all of us have as travelers, and that's the eye chart in an airplane lounge. You see all of the flights, and if it's a code share, you're waiting for your flight number to come to fore. And what I said is, why not when I walk up to that sign, it's just like Tom Cruise in Minority Report, where that advertisement would speak to me, but I want American Airlines or British Airlines to tell me where I need to go, at what time, which gate, and drive me right to the right location at the right time. And as soon as I walk by that sign, it'll disappear. My name goes away, and the next person's pops up all automatically. And some fans really love this application with our technology, and that's dropping a pin on a map every time you park your car. So when you turn your car off, the Bluetooth severs, it goes away, and then immediately a pin is dropped, so at the end of the night, you can be reminded where you left your car. Kind of cool in a city where you might have to walk several blocks. So I wanted to show this. That was all, you can see my progression there. I went from hardware hacking, making those devices, to software hacking, and using the phone that's in your pocket as a sensor platform. But I wanted to show you web hacking because the conversations that we're talking about earlier today were all about what you can do with the web. And when I started as a kid, it was in a garage working on engines. And I want to show this video of something that's pretty cool. That's a hack of something called DNS. And DNS makes the internet work. And what you're seeing here is the shaky web page. And what happened is the Whois, which is this engine that lets you look up domain names and who owns them. It's really used by system administrators and some geeks, especially if you want to buy a domain. You'd use this website to find out information about the domain. Well, this hacker put code inside of the MX records, inside of these records that normally the computers use to route data. And that code was parsed. And once it was parsed, it made all the web pages that showed this data do the Harlem Shake and even get Rickrolled, if you remember the Rick Astley technology, or the Rick Astley videos that we go in. So this was a hack that hit several websites, all based upon information that the owner of the domain put inside of that. So it's a very clever hack. And I'm going to bring Jamie Woodruff up on stage here. And he's going to talk about this ethical hacking.
Welcome, thank you all so much for being here.
It goes like this. I mean, there is no patch for ignorance.
Welcome you to
Welcome you to Brooklyn.
How many of you had heard that before?
It is an equality problem.
And protest, and legitimate protest.
Hey, way to school me. I just showed you how to increase font size, so don't forget the old school hacker here.
Viva Innotech, folks. Have and forward with all your deliberations. Will that do, Jennifer? Can I go now? Thank you very much.